Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is a friend of the house, a business coach, and a clergyman, Pastor Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. He'll be discussing the urgent need for people to be financially prudent at this time to eliminate wastages and impulsive spending and purchase this time of this Yuletide season. Please join us as we welcome Dr. Olumide Emmanuel in the building. Woo! It's always good to have you towards the end of the year as we're winding down to review what we've done so far, January to date, and start thinking ahead of next year. So, as many people are spending, I mean, everybody hampering, everybody,
how much is money?
Please, before you continue, please tell us how you healed Mariah when you...
Don't mind Wacky. Don't mind Wacky.
I'm only following your footsteps. Mama.
So, as I was saying,
you cannot reject the honor that has been bestowed upon
chest it.
Like she said, chest it and own it.
Own it.
Well, finances, money matter is very important in the life of every individual because we all need money to be able to function. And like I've said, you know, we've had a series of discussions over and over again. So there's no way we will keep going back to what we have discussed. But the first thing we need to understand is that principles are universal. But the application of those principles are personal, contextual, and geographical. So wherever you are in the world, what people do to be rich, what people do to manage their resources is the same. But it's just that when you now want to practice those principles, you now look at your own personal context, you look at your geography, and then you look at your own context, and you know, so it's contextual, geographical, and personal. Because, for instance, there are people that listen to us right now, they are living under the bridge. Many of the things that you are struggling about, hey, why can't I buy? They don't even have that reality because they have to survive on a day-to-day basis. But the same principles that that person will apply is the same principle that someone that is a multi-billionaire will apply. But they will just apply it with reference to their personality, their context, and their geography. Anywhere in the world, people are going through all kinds of stuff right now. There are people, as a result of the energy crisis based on the Ukraine-Russia war, as a result of the economic situation all over the world, anywhere in the world, whether it's the UK, whether it's Canada, people are going through a lot of stuff. There's inflation everywhere. There's interest rate has increased. So everybody's going through it. So you just need to have that clear understanding that, look, these are the principles that I need to apply. Second thing we need to understand is that for many of us, there are two dimensions that many of us are used to, but there's a third dimension that is a real problem. We know what it means to be uneducated. So when someone is uneducated, we say, oh, he's an uneducated person. We know what it means to be educated. But there's a third dimension, which is called the miseducation. And that's the real problem with many of us. Many of us have been miseducated. So you go to school, and you are made to believe that what you are being taught is what will help you to survive. But by the time you graduate, over 80% of what you are taught in school is useless. And most of the things that you are taught, you cannot use it in the practical world. So you have been miseducated because you have been given the belief that you have all it takes, whereas you don't have all it takes. That's why you spend an average of 20 years of your life in the academic sector, and when you come out, the first thing you do is to beg to apply. Because you have spent 20 years to be trained to become a beggar. So once we understand those basic concepts, then we now come into how do you as an individual survive regardless of the economic climate. Is to understand those principles, break it down into action steps.
Let me redirect you a bit, because one of the reasons we wanted you to help us, this is a spending season. Everybody, but some of us, we don't have enough.
Find that. Those are parts of miseducation.
Okay, miseducation.
Those are parts of it. Where do you get the idea that you must buy Christmas
Christmas. Where are we as good giving?
So you see, if we look at it from different angles, it's still miseducation. Number one, Jesus was not born in December. So if you look at it from religion, even the Jesus people say you are celebrating, he wasn't born in December.
It's not his birthday.
It's not his birthday. So you are just
those of us who are having.
Please don't spoil the season for us.
Christmas family, Christmas gathering. Now, because this year is my turn and I can't escape it.
No, you have to.
So question. This year is your turn. Were you aware last week or last month? You were aware before now. So you should have planned towards it. Those are the principles. Planning.
No, but we had wedding.
No. You see, listen, you see, every day of your life, you have what we call fixed costs. You have what we call recurrent costs. Fixed expenditure, if you are renting, you have your rent. If you have a house, you don't have to pay bills. You know there is diesel, you know there is cable, you know there is phone, you know there is fuel in your car. Those are fixed things that you should know. Then there are recurring things that come. That is where the principles of planning and the principle of savings comes in. There is no way you want to go around this. Nobody told you that end of the year is spending season. You will receive that belief and you capture it. There are people that end of the year is not a spending season to them. Every month is a spending because they have planned their life to say, okay, you are saying that I am the firstborn of my family. Every December, by tomorrow now, there'll be about 30 people in my house for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Every year, I'm the first one of the family. So every year, everybody, even if you have to sleep in the kitchen, everybody, that's the culture of our family. Yeah. So once in a year, my parents, my siblings, everybody, all their children, of everywhere. But because it is once a year, it is planned. It's something we've been doing for like 20-something years. So you plan it and you grow, you plan it and you grow. So you can't just wake up one day and tell me it's December. December is not a shock. It is lack of planning that is making you forget.
It's not a shock, but it is something that you cannot avoid. It's something that
you plan for it. Why
you must celebrate because it's your turn or whatever.
Just plan for it and get it done.
But what happens in the course of the year? You've made these plans and then something happens and you're unable to do it.
Like diesel becomes...
diesel becomes expensive. There was a health situation during the year, you know, and you had to dip into your savings.
So we go back again to principles.
So what would
you see, when you plan, you are not God. That's why it's called a plan. That's why it's called a budget. It's not set in concrete. And that is why there's adjustment. The last time I came, I said, there are only 2 things you can do. Reduce your expenditure or increase your income. So when you have a plan and diesel has shifted, I'm a businessman. We spend money. And because we have to spend like 7 million in one of the organizations for diesel, in a month we're doing like 20-something million on diesel. Wow. Because of that, right now in one of the organizations, we only go to work 3 times a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We don't go to work on Monday and Friday anymore. You have to cut down. Then we say, okay, how do we do remote work? Some organizations are closing now by 4 instead of closing by 6. You have to cut the cost. So once life happens, you make adjustment. That's why it's a principle. You just make adjustment because it will not be like that forever. And like I told you guys, I said the government seem to be making a lot of good decisions, but there's a gestation period for every policy. It's going to be between 6 months to 2 years for many of the things that will happen to change. If you are conversant with economic matters, you realize that some of these things they are doing is bringing more income. The country is beginning to make more money. But the problem is still at the expenditure dimension because we are making more money now, but we have so many debt that we need to take care of, and then the politicians are still wasting money as if there's money. So those are the problems. But if you look at the indices, the stock market is rising. Foreign investors are coming. Things are beginning to change based on those policies. But it will take time for it to trickle down to where the man on the streets can see the results.
Jump in here. So I like the first analogy you gave when you talked about contextual and personal and geographical. Right. And I know that all hands are not equal. People would plan and live according to where their pocket is. Now, the problem is when you are looking at another person's spending in this season and wanting to spend like that when you don't know where the person is coming from. And we have a lot of people, because of the impact of social media, we see people launch cars, launch houses, buy wigs.
Fake life.
No.
Fake.
Those ones are real, based on their income and where they are, their geography, personal and contextual. They can afford it. I'm talking about the real ones now. We have the fake ones. I'm talking about the real. They can afford it. But then you're sitting somewhere and you know you're not there. But you want to do whatever it takes to just have that life. And then you dip hands into things you're not supposed to dip hands into. And after the Agbabola season, by January, your eye clears, and then you start borrowing and begging. So how do we help people avoid falling into the trap? Because one person is doing this does not mean I should do it if you're not in that space to do it.
Okay, there's a principle we call the copycat principle. The copycat principle states that when someone pioneers something or does something, other people that look at them want to be like them. Within 6 months, people will begin to copy what they have done, even if they don't have what it takes to sustain what they are copying. There's also a principle called the 20-40-60 principles. The 20-40-60 principle states that when you are in your 20s and in your 30s, you are so concerned about what people think, what people feel, what will people say. So most of your decisions are based not generally on your thinking, on your analysis, but on your feelings, your emotion, and the opinions of other people. By the time you get to your 40s and your 50s, you have matured enough. You're like, I don't care what anybody's saying, and let me live my life. But by the time you now get to your 60s, you realize that nobody was even saying anything. You were the one putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. How many times have you bought shoes thinking that you will show them and nobody commented? You have to draw their attention. You know, say, you did so much, you buy shoe. They didn't even know. How many times have you bought air? You thought the air was something, but they didn't even know the difference between this one and the last one. you leave home. You leave a man at home. You say, oh, honey, I'm going to the salon to do my hair. The man may even be the one to give you the money if you don't have the money. You go. 3 hours later, you return. The man did not even acknowledge that you went to do it. Why? Because people are, many times we think we are breaking news. You are not a breaking news. Everybody is busy thinking about their life. You think they are thinking about you. I can't wear this one. This is what I wore last week. Who did this to us? Nobody is. So one thing is have strong self-esteem. Let your values be on the right foundation. That look, I am valuable. I am not what I drive. I am what drives me. Amen. I am not what I wear. No, so I'm not where I live. I'm what lives in me. So once you have vision, you have values, you know that all those things, the best way I would say is, if you are not pregnant, you are waiting for a child. Somebody else is pregnant, but the pregnancy has not yet shown. Somebody else is pregnant, the pregnancy is visible. Somebody else has given birth, is nursing a child. A pregnant woman should never envy a nursing mother. Because you are already in the process. Exactly. It's a matter of time. The one that has pregnancy that is not showing should never envy the one whose pregnancy is showing. Because you're already pregnant. It's only a matter of time. The one that is not pregnant yet should know in the journey of my life there is a pregnancy and a child in the future. Once you have that understanding, I may not have money right now. They have not stopped manufacturing cars. They have not stopped manufacturing houses. All the things everybody is using right now is old model.
Yeah, so
if somebody comes here with Volkswagen of those days that they used to buy, you will say what kind of cars. But those are the raining cars. They command in those days. So many of the things today now, many of the Range Rover before is the towing vehicle of today.
Yeah.
So many of the things you are running after is because of your myopic way of seeing things.
I love it.
It's because of low self-esteem, identity crisis. When you understand that your future is secure, just stay focused. You will get there.
So if I love it. You know what I love?
Amazing.
Everything you're seeing today is old model. You don't have yours.
Relax.
All this fine houses now. Because I remember back in the day, there's some houses that are so beautiful.
But today now,
come on, I can't live in that house because it's very old model. So you know, one of the things I also wanted you to help us address. You see, okay, I understand the issues of principles, your context and all that, but it's Christmas season.
Exactly.
I want to give. And there are lots of people that expect me to give. Because either they're the people, the workers, people around me, I always do, but this year is very difficult to give. I know somebody was telling me that every year, for the past few years, been giving maybe 25 kg rice. This year, she can't afford it because the numbers are crazy. So, but she's now thinking, what can I do? So, as a coach, I'm a business owner. I want to give out things, but I don't know what to do. I feel overwhelmed on this give because nobody has. And even me, people expect me to give. How do I do it and still want to manage myself?
Can I just add something? Because it's all part of it. So in this case, it's a giving. Let's say you're also a charity organization, and organizations or bodies depend on you to make donations at a certain time, especially this season, and you're unable to. What do you do as well? Okay,
so let me start with that because that's easier than we'll go to. So for an organization, anything that is organizational, that you're a company, there's what we call system and structures. And system and structure is save yourself, SYSTEM, save yourself time, energy, and money. And then there's planning. So as an organization, I already know these are the things I need. So don't wait until now to be telling them you don't have money. At the beginning of the year, let everybody know, oh, these are things we're going to do. We have a plan for 2023, and from our projection, it will not be possible to do this and this and this. So this is this. We cut this, and let everybody know, and that's it. Life happens. Everybody understands, and you move on. So that's just easy because we are talking organization. Let's come to personal. That's where a lot of emotions come in. Now you are a corporate organization. If you are truly an entrepreneur, then you will know that you don't plan for the future in the future. You don't manufacture your weapons of war on the battlefield. So if I already know at the beginning of the year that I'm going to be giving out X in December, there's an account for that. You need to open an account because, see, in money management, you have to make money. You know, we've dealt with that. How not to make money, how to make money. Then you have to manage money before you can multiply. So what you're talking about comes into financial management. The only way you manage money is budgeting and financial planning. So you have to sit down and have a budget. Every money that comes into your life, 10% of the money does not belong to you. It goes into the universe. It goes into the world. Christians call it tithing. Muslims call it sadaqat. They call it charity. 10% because if everything you get, you eat, you are a Dead Sea. Living is given. It's not about religion. That's the way life is structured. The oxygen that the plants release is what you breathe in. The carbon dioxide you breathe out is what they breathe in. So you say that's the way life is structured. It's not about religion. It's about creation and the way creation should. So 10% is not so one. 10 to 20% of every money you make must be saved. It's savings. So that means 30% of all your income does not belong to you. 30% of every money you make is what you use for salaries and emoluments. Any organization, any family that spends more than 30% of their income on salaries and emolument, you have entered into maintenance mode. And then 40% is what you use as running cost. So if you are an organization that understands financial management, it therefore means that a portion of your money is already saved to take care of that. So if by virtue of inflation, maybe in January, now it's okay, in December, we're going to do this, a copy of this will be 10,000 per person, I will give you 1,000. And then by the time you get to December, a copy that is supposed to be 10,000 is now 35,000. You can't give that anymore. You don't have to innovate and say, okay, so what can the 10,000 do? You now come. So if you can't do 25 kg, can you do 5 kg? If you cannot do 5 kg, can you do something else? You have been doing rice, can you do tuber of yam? You have been doing rice, can you now do other grains? You have been doing rice, can you now come up with a product, something that they can? So you just be creative. And then make sure you stay within that, and that's the way it goes. Because most of the time, it's just emotion. And most of the time, you know that the people that really need it, we don't attend to them. Most of the people who are trying to impress, they don't even need it. You give them the hamper, they are already sharing it. Some of it doesn't even get from the car. Oh, you carry this one. So the people that we need to go and help that are on the streets, we are not helping them because we think we are givers, but we are strategics. You are using the gift to buy favor. You are using the gift to maintain relationship for them. So you are not really a giver, you are just a user. I am just using that as a, again, what are you giving? Because if you want to give, go to the streets where the poor people are. Go to places where people that really need it, that don't have anything to give you back than prayer.
Not a giver, a user. I love
it. So we're just using the gift, the gift of man, make way, easy to, mark your register so that next year they will remember. That's why many people, when the president is in office or a governor, they'll be doing greetings. When they go, they don't greet them because they never love them. They were using those as strategies for moving forward in the marketplace.
Okay, so please let me.
I need it.
So let me ask. I always believe charity begins at home, and I always like people who would. So we always have family members who are not probably doing so well, and this is the time that you now say, okay, let me first of all attend to you people. You may have so and so needs. Let me give what I can give. You have workers who are earning just above minimum wage, and you want to support them. If I finish giving those people and I don't have enough to go to the streets, are you calling me a user?
No, you are not. You have done what you can do. Just do what you know you can do to thine own self be true. You are not looking for somebody else to come and give you accolade. Just be sure you are doing the right thing. And there's nothing wrong in using gifts to maintain a relationship.
Okay.
But
plan for it. Know that what you are doing. I need to settle this relationship. I need to oil it. There's nothing wrong. Just know
call
that.
It what it is.
Call it what it is. That I'm oiling the relationship. Don't now say I'm an oiler. No. Call it what it is.
The year is wrapping up, and we're all planning for next year. I mean, everybody's saying, okay, let's consolidate on what we've had, and let's just start thinking ahead. As we're planning towards next year, what do you think we should start looking at? How do you think next year? Because in view of the economy, I mean, the government keeps making promises, things will get better, then go to refinery, will start working, something will happen, magic will happen, and we're just hoping that something will just change, What do you think? What are your own projections as we move into next year?
So, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I don't believe in government, unfortunately. I used to when I was younger, I've never believed in government. And if we look at since 1999 date, let anybody tell me that anything is getting better. It's only getting worse. So every time you it's called the danger of situational hope. Every time you situate your hope on a man, a government, or a move, you will end up having your hope dashed over and over again. That's why we don't have trust. So personally, I don't believe in any political party. I don't believe because they are all the same. And anything they are promising, they can make promises. They don't have what it takes to be able to fulfill the promises. They can only do what they can do because there are political factors that has to be oiled in order for them to stay in power. So stop looking to government. You are your own government. Look at your own life. Do what you can do within the confines of the environment you have found yourself. So moving into the new year, not to make anybody feel afraid, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. But the worse is so that we can stabilize. Like I said, I think, I don't know when last I was here, but I think we discussed about the fact that these issues, that the steps they are taking, they are right, but it will take a while if the right things are done. Unfortunately, the right things are not being done on all fronts. that will help us to see the kind of result that we want to see. In November now, they shared the highest money they've ever shared. The highest money that came in this November in like 20-something years of this government.
The highest money to whom?
That's the fact, the money they shared among all the... So things are coming, things are changing. So in the new year, everybody should make sure that you have a plan and you look at must do, should do, can do, desire to do. And arrange your life in that four context. Must do. What are the things I must do that if I don't do it, my life is finished? Please. Must do. So you list all those things. I must have a roof over my head. I must have this. So must. Then what are the things I should do? I should. You look at those lists, you put it there. What are the things I can do? Then, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do it. Then what are the things I desire
to do?
Then you put it there. So when you list it out, as you enter into the new year, your income will now help you to know where to stand. So, but must do is what everybody should be planning. Just do the must do. Every other one, it's a turbulent. Let's go through this turbulent together.
Let me take Yakub and I'll come back to ladies. Good morning, Yakub. Thanks for calling. Oh, we lost that call. Mary Moon jumping. I thought we could see.
Yes. Okay, yeah. You know, this planning thing, especially when it comes to budgeting, at some point it was really very scary when I started writing down everything I was spending, buying groceries, buying this, buying that. At the end of the month, I'm like, so this is how much people are eating in this house? What's going on? So there was a kind of rewiring that I did. Like, you know, when it comes to subconscious reprogramming, I had to do it for myself because I didn't want the wahala of dying under the pressure of, so this is how much I am constantly spending. So I rewired my mind in such a way that I do not pay attention to my receipts anymore. I don't pay attention to what I buy in the grocery stores anymore. I just buy and go because I had told myself that I would work in such a way that I constantly make more, explore all my avenues, all those free jobs I'm doing, no more. Everything brings in money, but I will not pay attention to the day-to-day I'm spending so I don't run crazy. And I was able to achieve it. You know, I did not touch what I was not supposed to touch without proper planning and listing out the money. So for people who are looking, it's a question now, people who are looking to survive, they look at their bill and they look at how much they are meant to spend to probably just the basics, so nothing fantastical, just feed the children normal, so that at least they eat well, they're able to pay fees and all of that. How do you think, is my approach something they can also adopt or look into? I don't know. Okay,
so you use the word in your explanation, reprogramming. And that's the key. Everything we're talking about, people have been programmed to operate in a particular way. Okay. Question those programs, whether they are working, because there is a software that runs you. Now, what you have done is you have reprogrammed yourself to focus on increasing your expenditure. Do you know that all this we're talking about now, many times when I teach people...
Increase my income.
Increasing your income. You see, many times when I talk to people about, I say, look, there is no, two families are not the same. Because when you're saying, this one bring, if I'm a billionaire, I don't need whatever you're bringing. So when we are talking about mindset, you are saying, let me just focus on increasing my income. When I increase my income, my expenditure will always be taken care of. And there's nothing wrong in that. Not many people are doing that. They are focusing on, hey. And every time you focus on something, whatever you focus on is amplified. You notice that when you focus on making more money, the things you were doing free, your mind now told you no more free because you focus on it. So there's nothing wrong in what you have done. It's something that people should sit down to look into. One of the things that we have done as individuals is what I've said. I've looked at must do, should do, can do, and desire to do. And that's what I work my life because I have studied poverty. I have 2 PhD. Even my thesis in my second PhD is on poverty. Poverty. So I study poverty. You see, when you talk to helping people, one thing you need to understand is that poverty is a spirit, is a mindset, is an habit, is a lifestyle, is a state. Now, the problem, well, I'm a pastor, but I hate religion. I have a problem with religion. Religion is more dangerous than the devil. Christianity is not a religion, it's a relationship with your creator. When you practice Christianity as a religion, you become a victim of the religious or denominational interpretation of people to scripture that they don't understand. So when it comes to poverty, if you attack poverty from a religious point of view, you'll be dealing with spirits.
Demons.
And then you'll be praying. And listen, ignorance is not a demon, you can't cast it out.
Okay.
You cannot pray your way out of a problem you behaved your way into.
Oh, pause, sir.
That's why we have all the, have you noticed that prayerful people are the poorest people in church?
We know.
They just pray, they say, well, God cannot do this. And we pray all these things. Let's stop fooling ourselves. Many of the things we are talking about, the supernatural is a function of super plus natural. So the super will remain super without the natural. Natural will remain natural without the super. So you must do the two. You cannot say, oh God, come and feed me. God cannot feed you. He can provide the food. You must use the food, spoon and put it in your mouth and swallow it yourself. So when you deal with spirits, and you deal with that, you now confer on people, it is well. But it's not well because the mindset of poverty cannot be dealt with prayer. It takes you to go through a process of reprogramming. So when you say end of the year, let us give to people. The people you are giving at the end of the year, you might be starting a cycle that might block in 2024. What you need to do is have a budget for welfare. If it's 5% of your income that you can use to help people, have that 5% and use it to help people that need help around you. Don't wait until December. Because the way the mind works, once the mind is locked up into something, it expects it to continue like that. By the time you will help somebody in December, because people always think that you give because you have so much. They don't know you are just a good person trying to live a good life. Then the next thing, every problem in their life, they are coming to you. Urgent 2K, urgent 5K. And sometimes the response, someone is asking for a certain problem, I will send you something. And then they are telling you, please make sure it's up to 100.
We have to wrap up with you. We have to wrap up with you very soon. But I can't let you go.
Don't give me anybody anything for Christmas.
I can't let you go without...
You can give advice. You can give counsel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't let you go without you touching on what you trended recently.
Okay.
Trending and trending.
Well, let me just say this so that we can leave that by the side. Now, please. Many of you that have been commenting on it, you know when you are saying, I see that it was one of my family members that called me. They are talking about it. I say, so I announced I say, when you said according to what we read, I say, oh, it's what they read. So let me say, this journey started about 2 years ago. You know, I'm a pastor, and as a pastor, let me just rush through it. As a pastor, one of our jobs is to help people to understand the different things. So about a little over 2 years ago, late 2021. We've had this issue of divorce, problem. Some people will get married within 3 months, they don't scatter. And you're like, what's up? Because when you are in a small church, it's a level. When you are a mega church, and you're like, so sometimes you are in church, they will now tell you, that's the second wife, and they're all in the same church. And you as a pastor, you're like, wait till be on this one. Now, don't be waiting by we talk with this. So we had a discussion, look, let's begin to deal with this issue. So last year, I did a series did a conference and dealt with marriage, divorce, and remarriage. And I shared extensively from scripture, because church is part of the problem. Because we live in a patriarchal society. Even the Bible itself was written in a patriarchal culture. Yeah. That's why Jesus didn't have a female disciple. And then we are now in a patriarchal, so we interpret the scripture because our culture ties with the Jewish culture. And then we have put a lot of cultural context into what is supposed to be a revelation. So we dealt with that. When I dealt with that, one of my other pastor friend, Kingsley Okonkwo, like, man, this thing where you go touch, so there are issues everywhere, but nobody, now only if you talk this kind of thing, that we need to do something. So we've been on it for a while. Yeah. So we did an Insta Live on, is divorce a sin? That was the origin of this. Okay. So when we did that Insta Live, the result was back. He now said, sir, people are asking questions. Let's sit down and do a full teaching and help people answer this. I say, there's no way we'll do that without me having to bring my story home.
Personal experience.
Because, people, many of them were not even born 25, 27 years ago when I went through my own crisis. The Olumide Emmanuel you people know today is a result of the crisis he has gone through. The foolishness of my youth, the mistakes of my youth is what has made me wiser. That's why I can help people now.
Bring it back.
Anybody that wants to get that story, go to the YouTube and watch the real, not all this, this is clickbait. No, watch part one.
Why can't you come here and do it?
It's after you have gone to the YouTube.
We'll now come back.
Part 1, part 2, part 3. The issue is divorce is sin. In answering that, we now went on. So they now cut it into 3. Is divorce a sin? How my first marriage crashed, and now I came back from a failed marriage. So it now became part 1 to 3, and everybody's just carrying. So when you watch the 3 parts on Kingsley Okonkwo's YouTube channel, you now understand everything. You understand the context, you understand everything. Because this is something that happened 20-something years ago, 18 years ago. So really, it's not. Yeah, so go there. So when you have watched it.
Yes, we'll now bring you back.
Any question you have, then we can deal with it.
Any programs this week, this December for us?
Well, we have a free program in January. So on the 3rd of January, it's absolutely free. Let's just help people. School of Money. So go to my YouTube channel.
January,
go to.
Come again. You said free program in January. So before January, are we going to pay?
No, there's no free program now. But on my YouTube channel, there are so many videos, so many things. So if you go to my website, olumideemmanuel.org, you can always see all the things I'm doing. But 3rd of January, I'm starting the year with a free meeting. Everybody comes. School of Money.
So that's what I was asking. So the ones before January, we have to pay.
There is nothing before
January. There's nothing before January. You want to give him money.
After January, you will pay. After January, but in January 3rd, everybody come and let's help you.
Mariam, you seem like you have a question.
3 sessions. You ask question, I'll help you to get all the information.
No, the question I have, he said he has given me assignment. I should go and watch first.
Yes, so
when he comes back, ask him the question.
Once you watch part 1 to 3, it's very educative. It's just, we're only trying to help people, but you know, people are just so...
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Any final words to Nigerians, especially?
Okay, so my final word would be for you to understand that 1,000 good intentions are not as powerful as one action. And no one will plan your life for you without your direct involvement. All this idea of wanting somebody else to be responsible for you is not going to work. You see, because a lot of people are looking for somebody to blame. And I've said it over and over again, excuses are the trademarks of failures. When people succeed, they take responsibility. When they fail, they look for somebody to blame. A student failed, say the lecturer failed me. No, they didn't fail you. Say like, so once you take responsibility for your life and you do what needs to be done, it's only a matter of time. All these things we are doing, grigaga, you know, many of these things are not really as...
You have a teaching on religion. Go ahead.
To ask, at this stage, do you still make money mistakes?
Not as much as, I even wrote a whole book on that, 50 common money mistakes, not as much as I used to. If I make money mistake now, it will be because I allowed my emotion to overrule my sense of, because you are also human. When you cry, you try as much as possible, but I hardly do that anymore. So I used to make money mistakes, and I have a whole book on that. Yeah.
This you're teaching on religion.
Yeah.
Because the major part of one of the issues, Christianity different from religion, how we're able to, you know, behave our way out of poverty. I mean, I know you have lots of teachings, but do you have one specific in this area that we can?
Yeah, they're all on my YouTube channel. So they're on my Kingdom series. I have a series on the kingdom, understanding the kingdom, advancing the kingdom, manifesting the kingdom. The teachings on kingdom, because the church is not the kingdom of God. The church is part of the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is beyond church. So the church is a place where you raise, empower, and then release people. So we are the light of the world, the salt of the earth, not the light of the church. So when you practice religion, you are good on Sunday, and you see that Christians are the most terrible.
Monday to Saturday.
Monday to Saturday, because they just come to church, they lift up on holy hands, then Monday to Friday, they do all kinds of things. That's why we are not seeing national transformation. The church is the solution to the nation, but the church is also part of the problem. We are saying we have too many churches. We don't have too many churches, we have too many irrelevant churches. Because if the churches are doing their job, if you go and do your research, many of these people you are complaining about in politics, they are all in church on Sunday.
Yes, so
they are deacons, they are assistant pastors of churches. All these terrible people you have in politics, they are in church. So what are we talking about? Go to Lagos State, go to different states, all the civil servants, all the directors, many of them are pastors. But they are more terrible than other things. Try to do something, you see them, you are, pastor say, no, leave that side, let's leave church aside. That means they are religious people. They are not kingdom people. When you understand kingdom, a lot of things will change.
So, a kingdom person?
So that's a different, you know, we can sit down and talk that one, and then people can ask you, because really, God will help us. Do you know that majority of people on the pulpit don't even know what they are doing?
Wow.
I can say now, Morayo, and you look at me. When I called you, you looked at me, but if I don't give you an assignment, you stay until I give you an assignment. That you are called does not mean you are sent.
Hey.
There's a difference.
We have to go.
I thought calling
I'm not going to open a new kind of world.
What did they send you? What's your message?
Mariam, look at me. I'm still looking at you. Not sent you.
No message yet.
No message until you give her the instruction that, okay, go and do this and do this, then it works.
Okay,
that's all. The same Bible will come up with different interpretation.
That's
is God confused? God is not confused. We are the one that is confused.
That is all we can take on today's show. So you said January 3rd?
January 3rd, School of Money with Olumide Emmanuel, absolutely free. Go to my website, get all the details. Follow me on all my social media platforms.
We are coming
there.
Yes, so.
2024 is our year.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wow.